Welcome to JIRA demonstration. I'm Mohammed Islam, Scrum Master of Walmart EMI Catalog and Systems team. JIRA is the software development tracker for Walmart EMI Scrum projects. For this demo, I'm assuming that you are already familiar with the Scrum and Agile vocabulary and the process. During the session, I'll go back and forth between the scenarios we perform on our day-to-day activity for our Agile teams in Walmart, and we'll explain how we integrate JIRA software to manage our Agile Scrum projects. Let's log into JIRA. Walmart EMI Scrum projects are utilizing JIRA for tracking and managing software development. JIRA is the center of the software development projects, connecting people, tasks, and activities, and helps to monitor the progress of the project. First, we will talk about JIRA boards. Browse to Agile Manage Boards. It will open Manage Boards pane. Click on Create Board button will open Create an Agile Board window. There are two types of boards that you can create in JIRA Agile. They are Scrum board or Kanban board. Based on your team activity, you decide what board to choose. Scrum board is more preferable for teams that can plan their work ahead of time for the sprints. On the contrary, Kanban boards are more preferable for teams that focus on managing their work in progress, also known as WIP. Kanban boards are often divided into streams of work, also known as swim lanes. This is an EMI Agile Scrum framework at a glance. In EMI Scrum projects, we follow 2 weeks time box for each sprint. During the demo, I will explain the events and ceremonies we follow for each sprint and how we tie sprint and PSI activities to JIRA. Before the sprint, product owner and PS start working with the team to write stories and eventually generate product backlog. What is a product backlog? The product backlog is a container of short description of all the functionalities that you want in the product. Typically, a Scrum team and its product owner write down every functionalities they can think to create an agile backlog. In this slide, you see an example of story time where we do backlog grooming. During story time or backlog grooming, the product owner and stakeholders create and refine stories. They make sure to keep the number of stories ready for the next sprint. Team members play planning poker and sizes the stories on the product backlog. During planning poker, we use Fibonacci number while story pointing a story and decompose stories into smaller ones when they are too large. Team also create acceptance criteria for individual stories and prioritize stories on the product backlog. This is how a product backlog looks like in JIRA. To create product backlog, the first thing you have to create is stories. Let's jump on how we can create a story or issue in JIRA. There are several ways on creating issues in JIRA. You can click on the Create Issue button on the top and it will open the Create Issue window. You can also create issue by click on Issues, Create Issue, or click on the C button on your keyboard. Will also open Create Issue window. In JIRA, stories are part of issue. Issue is considered the heart of JIRA. An issue in JIRA could be the simple tasks, software defects, or even new features or requirements. A typical Scrum backlog contains different types of items. So click on the issue type drop down list, and now you see an issue type could be a new feature, a task, an improvement, epic, story, or even a bug. So what is a story? A story describes the task a particular user is trying to achieve. EMI Scrum teams may follow a certain form while writing a story. There are 3 segments we follow while writing a story. So an example is, as a role, I want something so that will benefit the product in a certain way. So these are the 3 segments. This approach focuses the team on the core user need rather than on implementing details. So stories are the placeholders for a conversation. They do not need to be especially detailed, since it is expected that the team will work together to resolve ambiguity as the story is developed. Stories to be implemented in the future are stored in the product backlog. So when I'm saving this story, as you see that it just created the story 55, and this story is going to the product backlog. So based on the template, let's create a real story that we use for the catalog team. So I'm selecting the story, issue type is story, and as a catalog developer, I want to migrate existing catalog hierarchy node rules to BRMS so that we can maintain these rules from a centralized repository. And we can assign a person at that time, or we can put some other information here as well. So let's save and create this new story. Generally, when a new story is created, as you see, the last one we created was 55, SSP 55, which is basically abbreviation name of the project and the next available integer value. So now the latest one we just created is saved as SSP 56. While filling out the story, we also write down the acceptance criteria. So once you create the story, you can come back and edit the story anytime. If you come back to the board and select the story details will show up on the right hand side. And if you want to edit it, you can edit it here, like in the right hand side pane, or you can select on this wheel button or configuration button and click on the edit option, and it will open the story that you can update or edit as well. So let's write down the acceptance criteria for the story we wrote. So this is an example of how the an acceptance criteria will look like in JIRA. So to migrate existing catalog hierarchy node rules to BRMS, I expect the following, and that could be all hierarchy rules migrated onto BRMS at the appropriate package building successfully, existing hierarchy unit test, will migrate to Governor. And let's save the new update. So the developers and the team, they sit together and they play the planning poker to estimate the stories. As you see, in these two stories we just created does not have any estimated story points. And to fill it out, just assume this story is the developer decided it will be a 5 story points. So you can fill out that story points in this editing pane. So the first one, we select this one, will take about 2 story points, the complexity and everything. So let's fill it out, and you will see that change will once we save it, the change will reflect in this particular box. And this is how you fill out estimated stories points in JIRA. Now you will see how to tie your story with an epic. So the epics basically shows up on the left hand side. You can create an epic, and these are the existing epics that you see in the left hand side. So to tie an epic, you can just highlight your story, drag that story to the epic that you want to tie to. So I'm connecting this one to the migration to BRMS. So I can just overlay it. So that epic will show up in the right hand side of the story. So I'm doing it for the other story we created, and this one I'm dragging it to the technical core, just an example epic. So once I drag it, so the technical core shows up on the right hand side of the story.